The 1950s was a massive wake-up call for British law enforcement. Before this, a copper could comfortably do his rounds on a bicycle or behind the wheel of a sluggish, pre-war saloon. But as the post-war economy boomed, asphalt started stretching across the country, and regular citizens suddenly had access to cars that could seriously shift. The era of the leisurely police patrol evaporated overnight. If the police wanted to catch the new wave of highway speeders, they needed serious mechanical teeth, heavy iron, twin cams, and enough straight-line grunt to hunt down criminals on the newly built motorways. Today, we are looking at 10 of the absolute fastest, hardest-hitting British police cars that transformed the thin blue line during the 1950s. Number 10. Ford Zephyr 6. County police forces across the UK immediately fell in love with the Ford Zephyr 6 when it dropped in the early 1950s. This wasn't just a basic upgrade. It represented a massive leap forward in how traffic divisions actually operated. Ford bolted in a remarkably smooth 2.3-liter inline-six engine that, depending on how the police mechanics tuned it, whipped up anywhere between 68 and 85 horsepower. But the real magic was how it handled. While most British cars of the era still used ancient body-on-frame blueprints, the Zephyr utilized advanced unibody construction and a brand-new invention called McPherson strut front suspension. This meant that when a traffic officer had to pitch the car into a hard corner during a high-speed chase, the Zephyr didn't lean over like a sinking ship. It was predictable, reliable, and crucially, it was faster than 95% of the regular family cars clogging up the roads. It proved once and for all that a modern cop car needed to be a performance machine, not just a mobile radio box. Number 9. Vauxhall Velox E-Series. If you wanted to see a slice of Detroit flash running down a rain-slick British highway in 1952, you were probably looking at a Vauxhall Velox E-Series. While most British manufacturers were still trapped building upright, conservative pre-war shapes, Vauxhall, being owned by General Motors, scaled down American aerospace styling to fit tight British roads. With its heavy chrome smile, metallic paint options, and structural unibody chassis, it looked like a spaceship next to everyday traffic. But police forces didn't buy it just to look glamorous. Under the hood sat an incredibly torquey, lazy 2.3-liter six-cylinder engine. This motor didn't need to be revved within an inch of its life. It delivered massive low-end grunt that allowed traffic coppers to sit comfortably in top gear and pull away effortlessly during pursuit. Forces like the Lancashire Constabulary absolutely hammered these cars on patrol. The Velox was wide, solid, and handled high-speed maneuvers with a level of composure that left smaller four-cylinder cars completely in the dust. It proved that a police car could be rugged, fast, and drop-dead gorgeous all at the same time. Number 8. Riley Pathfinder. When the Riley Pathfinder arrived in 1953, it shook up the entire automotive establishment. It earned the nickname the Beautiful Mask, because beneath its gorgeous, sweeping lines lived a mechanical heavyweight. Riley stuffed a massive 2.5-liter twin-cam four-cylinder engine under the hood, generating a highly impressive 110 horsepower. In an era where hitting 70 miles per hour felt like breaking the sound barrier for the average motorist, the Pathfinder could comfortably rocket all the way up to 100 miles per hour. Traffic divisions absolutely begged their superiors for these cars. The acceleration was incredibly violent for the 1950s, allowing interceptor units to close down speeding suspects in a matter of seconds. While civilians occasionally complained about the complex rear suspension setup, well-maintained police garage versions ran like absolute clocks, making it one of the deadliest high-speed pursuit weapons of the decade. Number 7. Humber Super Snipe. The Humber Super Snipe didn't need to shout about its performance. It didn't have sleek sports car lines or flashy trim. Instead, it earned its legendary status through sheer, unadulterated brute force. Humber decided that the solution to high-speed policing was displacement. They dropped an enormous 4.1-liter inline-six engine into the bay. It generated up to 116 horsepower, but more importantly, it produced a mountain of low-end torque. This meant the Super Snipe could be loaded up with 4 fully grown, heavily equipped officers, a massive boot full of gear, and still cruise at maximum highway speeds all day long without breaking a sweat. It possessed immense road presence. When county constabularies rolled up in one of these massive, rumbling machines, it immediately commanded authority. It was the ultimate long-distance highway cruiser of the 1950s, an unstoppable force that could simply outmuscle and outlast anything it was chasing. Number 6. Jaguar Mark I. When Jaguar dropped the Mark I in 1955, they essentially invented the concept of the modern high-performance sports sedan. Before this, if you wanted a sports car, you had to sacrifice rear seats and a roof. Jaguar completely rewrote the rulebook by building a compact, beautifully packaged four-door saloon that packed a devastating punch. Early versions ran a 2.4-liter variant of the famous XK twin-cam straight-six, but by 1957, Jaguar went completely mad and stuffed a full-fat 3.4-liter motor into the car, throwing down an unprecedented 210 horsepower. It was an absolute weapon. The acceleration was savage, easily capable of launching the car past 120 miles per hour. It didn't just catch speeders, it hunted them. Traffic divisions across the UK quickly realized this was the only car capable of keeping up with a new generation of fast-moving criminals. While the later Mark II gets all the movie fame in the 60s, it was a raw, muscular Mark I that broke the mold in the late 50s, giving the police the ultimate high-speed unfair advantage on the blacktop. Number 5, Austin A90 Atlantic. Easily the most bizarre and striking car to ever wear British police high-visibility markings was the Austin A90 Atlantic. Originally, Austin designed this car with swooping, chrome-heavy, futuristic lines specifically to trick American buyers into buying British. The export plan failed, but the British police looked at this strange, aerodynamic coupe and saw an opportunity. It used a punchy 2.7-liter inline-four engine producing 88 horsepower, which gave it incredible pulling power from a dead stop. Because of its wide, American-style front bench seats, visibility was unparalleled, allowing officers to scan wide stretches of highway with ease. It never became a mass-production police car, but the lucky few traffic divisions that secured an Atlantic used it as a high-profile interceptor. It sent a loud, clear message to the public. The police were no longer driving slow, outdated machinery. They were moving into the supersonic age. Number 4, Rover P490 and 105. Rover had an ironclad reputation for building conservative, high-end executive cars for bank managers and doctors. But the police quickly realized that the exact same qualities that made the P4 series a luxury success made it a devastatingly effective undercover and traffic patrol car. The P490 and the high-output 105 models ran advanced 2.6-liter inline-six engines that put out up to 108 horsepower. The build quality was so high that the cabins were virtually silent, massively reducing officer fatigue during grueling 12-hour patrol shifts. What the police valued most, however, was its sheer dependability. You could drive a Rover P4 at 90 miles per hour down a newly opened highway for hours on end, and the water temperature gauge wouldn't even flinch. It was elegant, incredibly tough, and handles the rapidly expanding British road network with absolute, effortless poise. Number 3. Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire 346. Now we are getting into the true heavy hitters. The Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire 346 was an elite, high-society luxury car built by an aerospace company. It was expensive, it was exclusive, and it was blindingly fast. Underneath that long, stately hood sat a race-bred 3.4-liter inline-six engine pushing out an astonishing 150 horsepower. The interior was a sea of polished woodwork and fine upholstery, but underneath the luxury lay a ruthless interceptor. When a driver dropped their foot in a Sapphire, the acceleration was immediate and relentless. Very few cars in the mid-1950s could even stay in the same zip code as this machine when it was on full chat. Because it cost an absolute fortune to buy, only a few elite county forces could afford to run them, making the Sapphire the ultimate, rare high-speed ghost of the 1950s highway system. Number 2. Sunbeam Talbot 90. If you were a speeding motorist in the early 1950s, the last thing you wanted to see in your mirrors was a flowing, streamlined shape of a Sunbeam Talbot 90. While most police forces were stuck using heavy, lumbering sedans, elite traffic divisions realized they needed something with a proven motorsport pedigree. Because this car wasn't just a plush cruiser, it was a literal rally legend that took second place at the brutal Monte Carlo rally with Sterling Moss at the wheel. To give it the muscles needed for high-speed police chases, it packed a highly responsive 2.3-liter four-cylinder engine generating 80 horsepower. It was an incredibly agile machine featuring a specialized independent front suspension setup that allowed traffic officers to corner with absolute precision on treacherous, rain-soaked country roads. Major forces across the UK deployed these cars specifically as primary interceptors. With its signature built-in driving lights and an authoritative, bellowing exhaust note. The Sunbeam Talbot 90 was the ultimate underdog of law enforcement, a sophisticated, tough-as-nails sedan that could comfortably sustain 90 miles per hour all day long while out-handling almost any criminal tryhard. Number 1. MGA taking our absolute number 1 spot is an interceptor that completely blew up the traditional law enforcement blueprint. In the late 1950s, traffic divisions faced a nightmare scenario. Sports cars were getting faster, and regular police cruisers simply couldn't close the gap. The solution? If you can't beat the sports cars, you buy them. Forces like the Lancashire Constabulary went straight to the factory and ordered a fleet of specially tuned MGA roadsters. These weren't your standard weekend cruisers. The police ordered high-performance versions equipped with advanced twin-cam specifications and heavy-duty four-wheel disc brakes. Pushing out over 100 horsepower from a featherweight chassis, these wide, low-slung rockets could easily blast past 110 miles per hour. Officers wore specialized leather coats and goggles, tearing down major trunk roads in an open-top cockpit with a massive public address megaphone bolted directly to the front wing. It was a total psychological shockwave for the criminal underbelly. Imagine trying to make a high-speed break for it, only to look back and see a race-bred sports car flashing its police signage right on your bumper. The MGA wasn't just a patrol vehicle. It was a dedicated, high-speed weapon that permanently changed the stakes of British traffic policing.